Happy Friday, everybody. We are back together here with another video, and it's been a long time since the Passion of the Christ, the original movie, came out. That was way back in 2004.
Yes.
I actually remember being in a movie theater. I was still in the Navy in Virginia watching that movie, and it was definitely one of the best movies I've ever seen. It was definitely captivating, definitely emotional. And of course, there was controversy behind it with Mel Gibson. But what did you think of the original movie?
I think it's very realistic and it's not in English,
It's in Aramaic
Yeah.
and Latin and I believe a little bit of Greek.
but I have to, read the subtitle.
Yeah. They were actually using this is technical stuff here. They were actually speaking ecclesiastical Latin, not classical Latin. So they were using church Latin instead of the Latin at that time. He was initially not going to have any subtitles with the movie. I'm glad that he put subtitles.
Yes. Yes.
So
And when the Romans, when they were, beating, Jesus,
Yeah.
it was really brutal.
it was definitely more realistic.
Yes.
And they actually used the right kind of weapon for scourging. Because usually when you see, actually, I don't think it's really been depicted that much in other movies. But the tools that the Romans used to scourge, that's what they use in reality. So they took like a whip and they would put like metal things at the end.
Yeah, I have to close
remember
my
what it's called.
eyes, and especially when they put a hammer in
Yeah.
his hand.
Yeah. Then that was actually Mel Gibson that actually did the hammering. And that was his hand.
Oh,
Yeah. But the scourging scene was very, very moving.
yes.
And I know it's tough for a lot of people to actually watch. It was definitely bloody. And but the sequel is coming now, finally. After, at least they're going to start making it 19 years later.
Yeah.
Now, Jesus is supposed to be like a man in his 30s when he died. Jim Caviezel was in his 30s when he actually played Jesus. Now, Jim Caviezel is like 53. So it's been a long time. Now, Jim Caviezel looks pretty good for his age.
Yeah, I like him, especially in the movie The Count of Monte Cristo.
Count of Monte Cristo, yeah, he's good. But it says here, report says Passion of the Christ sequel shoots this spring. Nearly 20 years after the Passion of the Christ broke box office records. This report says shooting the sequel, which will again star Jim Caviezel as Christ, will happen mid-year or late spring. I'm hearing Mel Gibson will finally be shooting The Passion of the Christ Resurrection in a few months. A late spring production is currently being eyed, with Jim Caviezel set to return in the role of Jesus. Gibson has been hard at work with the screenplay with Braveheart screenwriter Randall Wallace. Braveheart is a great movie. There have already been 6 drafts. Resurrection would focus on the 24 hours encompassing Jesus' passion and the events that occurred 3 days between his crucifixion and resurrection. Okay, let me make sure I got this right. And the events that occurred 3 days between his crucifixion and resurrection. Okay, so I'm wondering how much of Jim Caviezel we're actually going to see in this. Will it be more flashbacks? Because once Jesus dies, you don't see him again until 3 days later during the resurrection. But at the end of the original Passion of the Christ, we actually saw his resurrection.
Mm-hmm.
Now, initially, because they talked about this movie for years, I thought it was actually going to focus on the ascension, like roughly like 40 days after the Passion. But now this is saying that it's going to focus on 24 hours encompassing Jesus' passion and the events that occurred 3 days between his crucifixion and resurrection.
So it'll be about the disciple and the flashback of, Jesus.
Yeah, so obviously we're going to see Jesus appearing before Mary Magdalene then. And I'm wondering if they're going to bring back Monica Bellucci to play Mary Magdalene again. I'm pretty sure that they will. That. Also, Jesus appearing to Thomas, who didn't believe he had been resurrected.
Yeah, but I think the movie will be more about disciple and Jesus, staying with the disciple before he ascend to heaven.
Yeah,
something like that.
But based on his time frame here, and actually it says here, look, the last we heard about the movie, which will obviously cover some or all of Christ's 40 days on earth after returning from the dead, was from star Caviezel nearly 3 years ago. By that time, the script was in its 5th draft. So that's what I heard initially right there, that it will focus on the 40 days.
Okay.
Now, if they're changing it up, I'm just curious how much of Jesus is actually going to be in this then.
I don't know.
Because there isn't a whole lot of Jesus, within that time period of this new draft, it seems. Mm-hmm. So they're definitely going to have to go into more of the 40 days. That's what I'm thinking. Quote, it's going to be a masterpiece, Caviezel told Fox News in March 2020. It's going to be the biggest film in world history. I believe it will be based on what I feel in my heart. And that's Jim Caviezel right there. I don't know what year it is, but of course he looks pretty good right there. Mm-hmm. He's 52, 53, something like that.
I mean, I like, it is good that, he, he still played the role of Jesus because, of the first movie.
Yeah.
I like that because I don't like, when they change the actor or actresses.
Yeah. He was always going to be in Jesus. He's a Catholic, by the way. So is Mel Gibson.
Oh, okay.
By the way. So, yeah, he was always going to be into this. But why so many years? That's what I'm curious. Why this long to make a sequel? They're probably going to do some de-aging, too. Because for people that like the first movie, they're going to go and watch that one, and then they're going to watch this one. Jim Caviezel, 20 years older. Mary Magdalene, 20 years older. The woman that played the Virgin Mary, older now.
Well, maybe it's because of the budget or something. I mean, look at Avatar. I mean, it takes so long to make like Avatar 2.
Yeah, but James Cameron always takes forever to make movies, and that's really, Aliens, Na'vi, so he can change stuff like that. But I don't think I wonder if he's going to actually still have Pontius Pilate in this, because even in the Bible, Pontius Pilate is not even mentioned after the crucifixion. Mm-hmm. But historically, we do know about Pontius Pilate is that he was recalled back to Rome, because he had actually taken over for Governor Gratus. Mm-hmm. He became the governor. Then Pontius Pilate got recalled back to Rome, and then there was a new governor. But this is still during the Pilate time as governor of Judea. So I'm just curious, since this is like what they said, a 5th draft of this movie, where is it going to go? Because the original only focus on the last, 9 hours of Jesus' life. Mm-hmm. So is he going to take another time frame like that to focus on that?
I don't know.
I think it'll be good. Mel Gibson makes a lot of good movies. I don't think it's going to be as good as the first one. Mm-hmm. And it may be kind of like the Avatar effect, the first Avatar movie, visually stunning, caught a lot of people by surprise. And for the second movie, I don't think the second movie is as good as the first one. I don't know how you actually top the passion. Jesus on the cross. When people think of Jesus, they think of Jesus on the cross. Or are we going to see the ascension in this movie, in the heaven?
I would like to see that.
I would too. But I don't think he's gonna make any more Passion movies.
Maybe I do think like it would be more detail about Jesus on earth, with the disciple.
Like flashback scenes.
Not flashback. I mean,
I believe there will be some flashbacks, but
okay, at the end of the first movie, okay, Jesus died, and
you saw the resurrection.
yeah, and this one is like he died, and then the disciple was real sad, and then he came back, and it will be more about him, staying with the disciple,
That's what I'm thinking.
more detail.
I'm thinking it definitely will. We already saw the Judas's suicide. That was in the first movie. So Thomas not believing, I believe that's going to happen. I think we're going to see Thomas not believing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering, because even though we know the scriptures, how is Mel Gibson actually going to make that entertaining still?
I don't know, but
that's going to be something interesting to see how he's going to make it entertaining.
I think it'll be like the TV show, the Bible series. Yeah,
the Bible
series. It'll be more like that.
Yeah, but they took some liberties in the Bible series though. Mm-hmm. Like especially like in the second one, they actually had Caligula going to Judea with Tiberius. Tiberius never went to Judea, and that didn't happen. And also, Caligula becomes the emperor. It never happened in Judea. And actually, when Caligula was actually initially emperor, he wasn't a tyrant. Something happened to him, and then he got sick, and then he became kind of crazy. So they took some liberties in that show to make the show more interesting. Mm-hmm. Even though, the emperor wanted to bring in a statue of himself into the temple. Yeah, that really did happen.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen like that in the show. I think a guy like Mel Gibson is going to try to be as close to the scriptures as possible. Mm-hmm. But he's still going to have to find a way to make it entertaining still and captivate the eye.
Yeah, I think so.
So the resurrection, we will see that. Maybe he'll do with what they did in the Bible series. Remember the Roman soldiers? Remember they stood watch over the tomb?
Yeah.
Maybe they'll go in that route right there.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, maybe he'll take a little bit more liberties with certain things as well.
Yeah.
But
like how the disciple, remember Jesus when, they're having a hard time struggling. That after Jesus' death and he's ascended to heaven, before and after, the Romans were, chasing after the disciple.
Yeah.
Killing other Christians.
I think that would have been pretty interesting too, because that was really what the Bible series focused on. That was really about hunting down Jesus' followers.
Yeah. And
you're not going to see that because all of that really didn't happen until after Jesus had ascended.
Yeah, and hunting down the people who, follow Jesus.
I mean, it'll be interesting, if Mel Gibson actually made a Saul of Tarsus movie, on his way to Damascus, and he actually sees Jesus, and that would have been very interesting too. But you really wouldn't have a lot of Jesus because Jesus only appears really a couple of times. So,
man, he was really like a hater, really.
He was a persecutor of followers of Jesus.
Yeah,
until Jesus intervened, and then he said, "Oh, he's my instrument." He called Saul of Tarsus, my instrument, and then he said, your name is not Paul. Paul of Tarsus. So, but anything else to say about this? It's going to start shooting this year, but when will it actually be coming out? That's the question. Don't know. Probably next year, 2023. Well, it is 2023. So 2024, probably like 20 years, a full 20 years afterwards. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm thinking. But I really did enjoy the first movie a lot. I've been looking forward to this one for a while because we had known about this for quite a while. So
yeah.
But I think that's going to wrap it up, guys. We will be back on Monday with another video for you guys. Enjoy the weekend.
Goodbye.